Hey guys, how's it going? It's Calvin Raab, and I hope you're having an amazing day today. So in this video, I'm going to be going over jobs within the medical field. And more specifically, these jobs don't require a bunch of education that you have to go and get and oftentimes spend a lot of money on. Because oftentimes when people think of high-paying, great jobs within the medical field, they think of people like doctors that require, hundreds of thousands of dollars of educational expenses and lots of years of studying. So I tried to find 10 different jobs that don't require a ton of education. You will need some, in order to get some jobs you do need to have some certifications and things like that, but I tried to find some that don't require a ton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say what the job is, a little about what the qualification is for it, and I also do want to say that some of these may require more education than I have said here. I tried to do my best in getting everything accurate, but you of course are going to want to fact check me on all this and make sure that I've stated correctly what the education requirements are. And if I did get something wrong, I love it when you guys correct me in the comments below, and just make sure, because I want this to be as helpful of a resource as possible for you. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Let's get into these 10 jobs. These aren't in really any particular order. And if you're new here, my name is Calvin Raab. I make videos all about personal finance and the job market, so if you're interested in anything like that, I would love it if you would subscribe. Coming up first is a medical coder, and a medical coder is someone who takes information from a certain patient's visit and transcribes it into information that insurance companies and anyone else that may require this, some other hospitals or something like that, can actually understand it. So they go and they look at exactly, what happened, what occurred, what the prescriptions may be, what the diagnosis is, and they transcribe that so that other companies and other people can understand it more. And usually these are numerical or alphanumerical transcriptions that they have to do so that it's just easily digestible for other companies. And this is a very important position within the workplace because it allows, companies to understand what's happening to different patients and different things like that. So to be a medical coder, there is no real formal education that you have to go get, at least not one that is mandatory. There are different certifications that you will need to get, and usually these are gotten through career-specific pathways that have to do with medical coders. So if you just look up medical coder, say that 5 times, medical coder classes online and different things like that, you can see your pathway to becoming a medical coder. Coming at number 2 is a phlebotomist, and if you've ever gotten your blood drawn, then you've probably dealt with a phlebotomist before. I've actually just got my blood drawn about 2 days ago. You can still see a little hole. It's kind of now turned into a bruise there. I also scratched myself surfing, but that's a different story. So a phlebotomist is just someone who will draw blood. They also prep the blood for testing and different things like that. So in my research, I didn't see any formal education that was necessary. There are associate's and bachelor's degrees that are open in phlebotomy, and most likely the case that I saw was there's a lot of on-the-job training, as far as once you are already hired, then you really get into the nitty-gritty of what you need to know, but I didn't see any formal education requirements here. Coming to number 3 is an emergency medical technician, which is usually just referred to as an EMT. And EMT are the people that do arrive for first aid care and different things like that when you do call 911 for a medical emergency. So these are people that are called and have to deal with the situation. They are usually the first people there. They have to assess the situation, figure out the best course of action. If something is life-threatening that's going on, they have to work on supporting the life and just making sure that they are prepped and ready for transportation to the hospital. So this is an unbelievably important job where you will literally be saving lives on the job, and this is something that of course is going to be rewarding. It also is very stressful, and you can make good money doing this as well. So if this is all something that you're interested in, then this may be something that you want to look into. So most EMT jobs do require a high school diploma or GED, and also to become an EMT you do need to be certified. So get your EMT certification, and also there's ambulance certification as well. And these are usually offered at your local community college. You can find courses there, and it usually takes anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to get fully certified. So yes, there are education requirements here, but it's nothing like getting a bachelor's degree in something or anything like that. That would take a lot longer. Coming number 4 is a medical secretary. And if you ever stop by when you first get to the hospital for maybe a physical or something like that, usually the first person you interact with is a secretary that is there, and they're responsible for a lot of daily communication with patients. Oftentimes they will call me or text me saying, and just making sure that I know when my next appointment's coming up. They will also deal with a lot of scheduling. They deal with a lot of schedules of the doctors, making sure that they have time to see each patient and that their day kind of runs smoothly, in the fact that it doesn't get completely overboarded or backed up or anything like that. They also deal with a lot of paperwork. At least oftentimes my interaction with them is dealing with paperwork that they give me. They have to file that, store that, and different things like that. So they are a very important job in the medical field, and oftentimes the first point of contact when it comes to non-medical professionals such as myself when I go to the hospital or anything like that. So in my research of education requirements, it did say that they do want to see a high school diploma or a GED. Also, sometimes depending on the job, there are different things like a bachelor's or associate's degree within medical administration or something like that that you may want to look into if that's something that you need. And I would just look at, where do you want to work? What's your goal there? Or just reach out and say, what are the education requirements that are required there? Because I did find that it really kind of fluctuated from hospital to hospital. Coming at number 5 is a nutritionist, and this is someone who will meet with a lot of patients to go over things like diet and start coming up with diet and exercise plans for them. Everyone's body's a little bit different, so they can work on creating a type of diet plan that is healthiest for you. Yes, there are different options online, fad diets and things like that, but these are trained professionals that know what is going to be best for you, and they can help you with your intake and exercise, really get you in the best shape possible. So in my research of a nutritionist, a lot of them did have bachelor's degrees within health or some related field like that. A lot of them do study food science, and a lot of nutritionists come from that, or, a nutritionist goes towards food science. It's kind of an umbrella term there. But oftentimes a lot of bachelor's degrees are seen here, and I'm not too sure as, what is the exact prerequisite requirement. You have to have that, but I do know that a lot of them do have that. Of course, that is nothing compared to going to medical school or something like that. Coming at number 6 is a physical therapist assistant, and I'm familiar with this because I have started going to physical therapy with my hip, and usually what happens is I will go and meet with my physical therapist. She'll make sure that everything is still moving properly. She may do a little bit of tissue work to see if anything's needed to gain mobility, and then I usually get passed off to a physical therapist assistant who then will work with me through my exercises and different things like that. They also will do different things with patients as far as making sure that all the mobility is there. They also oftentimes will help me with, scheduling and different paperwork and different things like that. So oftentimes they may have little ad hoc assignments here and there, but as a whole, they're usually working with patients just in that recovery process. So in my research of what is needed to become a physical therapist assistant, it did require an associate's degree from an accredited college, and you also have to be certified, which does require a few exams and some continued education after your high school diploma or GED. Coming at number 7 is a surgical technologist, and this is someone who preps the operating room. So before someone goes into surgery, obviously the whole room has to be prepped as far as everything has to be in place, everything necessary for the surgery that any doctor or anyone performing the surgery may need. Everything needs to be there. So that is the main job of a surgical technologist, is just to prep that room. And there are other jobs as far as transporting patients and different things like that, and they will have different jobs within the hospital, but a lot of it has to do with prepping operating rooms and just making sure that everything is ready for surgery, and some of them will also assist during the surgery as well. So in my research of how to become a surgical technologist, it was interesting. It takes about 12 to 24 months to become certified. And also, a kind of cool thing about it is there isn't one thing that you have to do. So you don't have to go and get certified in this one way. There's kind of 3 different pathways. You can have a diploma, you can get certified for it specifically, take certain certification courses, or you can get an associate's degree. There's a lot of associate's degrees that will help you become a surgical technologist. So depending where you are, you're going to want to see, as far as where you are in your education career, you're going to want to see what works best for you, and maybe this is something that you can become. Coming at number 8 is a dental assistant, and dental assistants do a lot. Oftentimes they work with patients, they may be the first one there to just get a general overview. They also may be in charge of cleanings and different things like that before they go and the doctor checks things out. Oftentimes they will perform a certain operation or a cleaning, or if you have to have any work on cavities or anything like that, because oftentimes that usually what happens to me is I'll usually get worked on by the assistant and then the doctor comes and checks the work after, or the dentist comes and checks things after, and that's something that is usual dynamic that I'm pretty familiar with there. They also will deal with a lot of paperwork and different things like that, so dental assistants do a whole bunch, and any assistant position is going to be doing a whole lot of different things. So if you want a career where every day is a little bit different, then this may be something that you want to look into. So in my research of how to become a dental assistant, there was no formal education necessary. A lot of people did have a high school diploma, and then there was a lot of on-the-job training, which I think is pretty cool. That's something that I like to see from companies, that they do a lot of on-demand or on-the-job training and different things like that. However, if you do want to get a more academic background behind it, you can look into a lot of training programs that go more in-depth on what will be needed to become a dental assistant. Coming at number 9 is a sonographer, and this is sometimes just referred to as an ultrasound technician. And that name makes sometimes a little bit more sense because it has the word ultrasound in that, and that is what a sonographer does. They will be performing ultrasounds, which is basically getting a look at internal tissues, maybe looking for something like heart disease or a pregnancy or anything like that. So if this is something that you're very interested in, then this may be something that you want to look into. So there's different ways that you can go and work to become a sonographer. So you can go to, oftentimes they have these 2-year programs where you can go and get certified to become a sonographer. There are also bachelor's degrees in sonography that you can look into. And also if you're already in the medical field as a whole and already have a lot of this information, as far as, you know, if you're coming from something that is closely related, then they do have 1-year certification options for people that are already within the healthcare field. Coming at number 10 is a home health aide. Now, this is a job that is all-encompassing in that there's so many different things that you could be doing, and it really depends on the person or the patient that you do have. So things can vary from doing grocery shopping to laundry to more personal care, like bathing and eating and dealing with any wounds or any other disabilities that they may have. And it is very person by person, because some people may be able to do things that another can't. Some may not be quite there as far as mental capacity to do something, and that's when you help out there. And this is something that is a very much so in-demand job. I've talked about jobs that are very much so in demand and growing, and this is always right there on the list, and it has to do with the aging of a lot of baby boomers and different things like that. So as far as the academic requirements of this, there really wasn't too much there that I saw in my research. A lot of it was requiring a high school diploma or GED, and then after that, a lot of it was on-the-job training, which is neat. And that's something that is, you know, open to really anyone that then goes and gets a high school diploma. Of course, if you are certified in different things, you know, it probably looks good if you have a CPR certification or an associate's degree in something, and this is just something that you'll want to look into to see what's best for you. But that will wrap it up. So in that video, or in this video, I went over 10 different things that, or 10 different jobs that you can get within the medical field that don't really require a medical degree as far as going and becoming a doctor or anything like that. And this is just really a nod to how big the industry is, that there's so many opportunities for people that even just have a high school diploma. So that will wrap it up. If I said something wrong in here, I would love it if you'd let me know in the comments below. You know, sometimes, you know, maybe my research wasn't correct, and I would love to have a conversation about this. The medical field is an amazing field to go into, so I would love to talk to you guys about it below. But that will wrap it up. If you're new here, my name is Calvin Raab. I make videos all about personal finance and the job market, so if you're interested in anything like that, I would love it if you would subscribe, so I look forward to talking to you below. That will wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. As always, my name is Calvin Raab, and I'll see you soon. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. So I'm going to move to the corner of your screen here. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you are going to see my most recent video. And if you look in the lower left-hand corner, you're going to see a video that YouTube and I each think that you would like. And if you haven't yet, you can hit my face right here and subscribe. As always, my name is Calvin Raab, and I'll see you soon.